What if the Jedi aligned with the Nightsisters during the Clone Wars? The Clone Wars raged across the galaxy, leaving destruction and despair in their wake. The Jedi Order, stretched thin by the conflict, sought unconventional allies to counter the growing strength of the Separatists and the dark schemes of the Sith. On the shadowed world of Dathomir, the Nightsisters, mysterious wielders of ancient magics, held powers the Jedi scarcely understood. Despite centuries of mistrust, the Jedi Council, desperate for an advantage, decided to forge a fragile alliance. The council chamber on Coruscant was bathed in solemn light, the faces of its members etched with weariness. Mace Windu leaned forward, his tone grave. The Separatists grow stronger with each passing day. We need allies, ones capable of countering the unknown threats the Sith continue to unleash. Yoda closed his eyes, his voice heavy with caution. Dangerous, this path may be, but necessary, it feels. Anakin Skywalker stood beside his master, Obi-Wan Kenobi, arms crossed. The Nightsisters? They're practically Sith themselves. How can we trust them? Obi-Wan, ever the diplomat, responded calmly. We don't have to trust them, Anakin. We only need their cooperation. Their knowledge of the Force is different from ours, perhaps enough to tip the scales in our favor. Mace turned to the pair. Kenobi, Skywalker, you will go to Dathomir. Convince the Nightsisters to aid us. But tread carefully. Their loyalty lies only with themselves. The Jedi ship descended onto the crimson world of Dathomir, its surface cloaked in mist and shadow. Towering trees with twisted roots surrounded the landing site, their gnarled forms casting eerie silhouettes. Anakin frowned as they approached the Nightsisters' village. This place feels wrong. Like the Force itself is twisted. Obi-Wan nodded, his hand brushing the hilt of his lightsaber. Stay alert. The Nightsisters are powerful, but their methods are not ours. Remember why we're here. At the edge of the village, a figure emerged, a tall woman with pale skin and piercing eyes. Mother Talzin stood before them, her presence commanding. Talzin's lips curved into a faint smile. Jedi, you come seeking favors from those you once scorned. What makes you think the Nightsisters will help you? Obi-Wan stepped forward, bowing slightly. Mother Talzin, the Sith threaten us both. If they win this war, neither the Jedi nor the Nightsisters will survive their dominion. Talzin tilted her head, her voice like silk laced with steel. And what will you offer in return? We do not act without purpose. Anakin's impatience flared as he stepped forward. We offer the chance to stop the Sith, unless you'd prefer to wait until they destroy you too. Talzin's piercing gaze flicked to Anakin, her smile widening. Bold. And yet, perhaps he speaks the truth. Very well, Jedi. We will consider your offer. But first, a test of your sincerity. Talzin led the Jedi to a vast arena, its walls carved with runes glowing faintly in the dim light. Nightsisters gathered in the shadows, their presence unsettling. She raised a hand, her tone commanding. To prove your worth, you will face the Witch's gauntlet. Succeed, and we shall discuss an alliance. Fail, and your corpses will feed the roots of Dathomir. Obi-Wan and Anakin exchanged wary glances but stepped forward. The gauntlet began with a burst of dark energy, the air thickening with oppressive power. Nightsister illusions materialized, their forms twisting into grotesque apparitions. Anakin ignited his lightsaber, the blue blade casting a stark contrast against the shadows. This is your idea of diplomacy, Obi-Wan? Obi-Wan deflected a spectral blade with his saber. Not my first choice, no. The Jedi moved in perfect synchronization, their blades flashing as they countered the illusions. Anakin's raw power and Obi-Wan's precise technique balanced each other, cutting through the Nightsisters' challenges. As the final illusion dissolved, Talzin clapped slowly, her expression unreadable. "Impressive. Perhaps the Jedi are not as blind as I thought. Very well, we shall aid you. But know this, if you betray us, there will be no mercy." The uneasy alliance between the Jedi and the Nightsisters began to bear fruit. With their magics woven into Republic battle strategies, the tide of the war shifted. The Separatists, caught off guard by the Nightsisters' unconventional methods, struggled to adapt. On the battlefield, Asajj Ventress, once an enemy of the Jedi and now a reluctant ally, fought alongside Anakin Skywalker. Despite their history, the two warriors displayed a fierce and effective partnership. During one mission to liberate a Separatist-controlled mining world, the Nightsisters conjured mist to obscure the battlefield, disorienting droid forces. Anakin surged through the chaos, his lightsaber a blur. Ventress followed close behind, her twin red blades carving a deadly path. "Try to keep up, Ventress," Anakin called, his tone taunting. She smirked, deflecting blaster bolts. "Careful, Skywalker. I might just outshine you." Despite the victory, tensions simmered beneath the surface. The Jedi struggled to reconcile their principles with the Nightsisters' ruthless tactics. Meanwhile, Mother Talzin's interest in Anakin deepened. Back on Dathomir, Talzin summoned Anakin to the heart of the Nightsisters' temple under the guise of seeking his input on battle strategies. The chamber was dimly lit, its walls pulsating with a faint green glow. The air was heavy with an unnatural energy. "Skywalker," Talzin began, her voice smooth and inviting. "Your strength is remarkable, but you carry such turmoil within you." Anakin's brow furrowed. "If you called me here to lecture me about my emotions, you're wasting your time." Talzin stepped closer, her piercing gaze never leaving him. "I called you here to offer you freedom. The Jedi chain you with their rules, their blind devotion to a flawed code. I can help you reach your true potential." Before Anakin could react, Talzin raised her hands, and the chamber filled with swirling green mist. The magic engulfed him, seeping into his mind and body. Anakin cried out, his body convulsing as the spell took hold. His eyes glowed with a sickly green hue, and when he spoke, his voice carried an unnatural echo. "The Jedi. Their time is over." Talzin smiled triumphantly. "Good. Now, my chosen champion, lead us to victory." The next battle was a nightmare for the Jedi. Under Talzin's control, Anakin turned on his comrades. His lightsaber moves were precise and devastating, his power in the Force amplified by Nightsister magic. Obi-Wan and Ahsoka confronted him during the battle, desperation etched on their faces. "Anakin, stop this!" Obi-Wan shouted, his voice strained. "Whatever Talzin's done to you, fight it." Anakin's glowing eyes fixed on his former master. "The Jedi betrayed me. Talzin has shown me the truth." Ahsoka stepped forward, her tone pleading. "Master, this isn't who you are. You're stronger than this." For a brief moment, her words seemed to pierce the darkness. But Talzin's spell tightened its grip, and Anakin attacked with renewed ferocity. The Jedi Council, recognizing the danger, authorized a full-scale assault on Dathomir. Republic ships descended on the Crimson World, their forces clashing with Nightsisters and their magics. Obi-Wan and Ahsoka led a team to the Nightsisters' temple, determined to free Anakin. Inside, they found him standing before Talzin, her hands glowing as she reinforced her control. "Anakin, please," Ahsoka cried. "This isn't you." Anakin turned, his voice cold and distorted. "The Jedi are blind. The galaxy needs a new order. Obi-Wan ignited his lightsaber, his face resolute. If you truly believe that, then you leave me no choice. The battle that followed was fierce. Anakin, augmented by Talzin's magic, fought with overwhelming power. Obi-Wan and Ahsoka struggled to match him, their bond as allies their only advantage. Talzin joined the fray, unleashing waves of dark energy. Obi-Wan was thrown aside by one of her blasts, leaving Ahsoka to face Anakin alone. "Master, listen to me," she shouted, her voice filled with desperation. "You taught me to trust the Force, to fight for what's right. Don't let her take that away from you." For a moment, Anakin hesitated. His glowing eyes flickered, and his expression softened. "Ahsoka?" Talzin roared, pouring more energy into her spell. But Anakin, summoning all his willpower, turned the magic back on her. The dark energy erupted, consuming Talzin in a blinding flash. As the dust settled, Anakin collapsed, his body weakened but his mind free. Obi-Wan helped him to his feet. "Anakin, are you with us?" Anakin nodded weakly. "I'm sorry." The Nightsisters, leaderless and outnumbered, retreated into the wilderness. Ventress, who had watched from the shadows, vanished into the galaxy, her faith in the Nightsisters shattered. Back on Coruscant, the Jedi Council deliberated the consequences of the alliance. "This alliance has cost us dearly," Mace Windu said gravely. Yoda nodded. "Learn from this. We must. Balance. The Force still seeks." Anakin, recovering in the temple, struggled with the weight of his actions. Ahsoka stayed by his side, her presence a quiet reassurance. "You came back, Master," she said softly. "That's all that matters." Anakin's gaze was distant. "But at what cost?" "Talzin's magic. It showed me things. Darkness I didn't know was inside me." Obi-Wan placed a hand on his shoulder. "You resisted her in the end. That's what matters." Despite their victory, the scars of Dathomir lingered. The Jedi had glimpsed the fine line between light and dark, and Anakin, the Chosen One, stood at its edge. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.